Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrián, rocking that Tigre jersey. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right, dude. Thank you for the warm welcome. Always nice to be here with you. And, this is going to be a fun one because MLS is up on us and we got some major news.
Hey, man, MLS is always giving us material for the podcast, man. Here, there's not a quiet week with these guys.
Nope.
So during this episode, we're going to be covering the newly released MLS Playoff Format for the new 2023 season, the new Apple season. A controversial change, to say the least, one that has really split a lot of the media, a lot of the fans, a lot of the players' opinions. So before we really dive into that, Adrián, quickly, how can new fans and old fans find us, man?
So if they want to see our pretty faces, dude, they can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. If they're okay just listening to our pretty voices, they can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast service they are a subscriber on.
All right, let's get into it then. All right, man. So originally, the postseason format for the last couple seasons has been, two conferences, East and West. The top seven teams from each conference qualify to the MLS Cup playoffs. The number one seed in both the East and West conferences received a bye and for round one and moved directly to the conference semifinals. And the remaining 12 of the 14 seeds 2 through 7 for each conference respectively, faced off in a single elimination round one match. The winners from that single elimination one round match, hosted by the top seed, the higher seed, advanced to a two-legged conference semifinal, ida y vuelta, home and away, before it reached a one single final, right? The MLS Cup, just one and done, one game. But now, man, let's get into this. So it's expanding to 9 teams per conference, 2 extra teams per conference. So you have 18 teams out of the 29 qualifying. That's 62% of the team. Yeah, that's crazy. 62% of the teams automatically make playoffs, or at least into the wild card round. The only league in the United States from the major sports that has more percentage of qualifying is NBA. 66% of the NBA teams make playoffs. Before we really go into that, what is so I can stop talking here. What is your opinion on that? Is that does that pretty much make the regular season kind of irrelevant? There's no promotion relegation, so and 62% of the teams qualify. What do you think?
I mean, I am surprised. I was not expecting this whatsoever. I knew that there's some changes were coming, and I know that MLS was interested in having more games. I thought that we're just going to add a few more games for the regular season, but I guess I wasn't, far from right. Completely wrong on this one. But to go back to your question, I do feel that this makes the league less competitive in a lot of ways because I'm not a huge fan of the playoff format to begin with. I really don't like the fact that the best team during the year does not get the championship. So you had to go through this playoff, and then you allowed a team who was very mediocre throughout the season to get a chance to get a chance to win the trophy and take it home. Adding just more teams just means that you're allowing those, if you want, weaker teams or those teams that like to be lazy throughout the regular season to just say, you know what, I can plan my season around my home games, make sure that that I have a strong, a good stronghold in my city, and kind of sort of mess on the away games, and hopefully if I can get a draw, I'll take it home. And if I make a win, then that was unbudgeted for, but hey, I'll take it. So now you can have teams where they can literally just be sitting on their asses half of the season, have, I don't know what, 15 good games, or maybe even less, I don't know, like 10 good games, make 20 something points, 30 something points, and then qualify to the freaking playoffs as a wild card. You have to be kidding me, man. 66% of the entire roster of teams makes it to the next playoff. So what's the point of the regular season?
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. It's if we already thought that they played a lot of games before and the product was kind of watered down, between those
Uh-huh.
uh having to play League, MLS, US Open Cup, CONCACHAFA for those that were qualified for CONCACHAFA, and now Leagues Cup. I
Leagues
mean,
Cup.
it's going to be even more watered down. If you're qualifying all those tournaments, the top teams are going to be playing 60 games a season, and wouldn't that you don't really think that's a problem in Europe because there's no salary cap over there. Their bench team is as good as their starting team usually for the big clubs, right? But here, I
Hmm.
don't know, let's say LAFC, great starting 11, right? Could play with the best of
Hmm.
the best in Liga MX or Costa Rica or any other CONCACHAFA team. But you compare their bench to Tigres bench, Rayados bench, America bench, it's like non-existent. So like we're gonna be seeing a lot of you know, oh man, I'm already in the playoffs. There's 5, 10 games remaining. I'm like, even if I mess up now, the next 5, 10 games, I'll still qualify for the wild card round. Let me bench all my guys for the remaining of the season and focus kind of on Leagues
Ex-
Cup or CONCACHAFA, and the quality of the games are going to be worse. I feel like. Um, I guess I could see why they're doing it, right? Obviously, you mentioned you're not a fan of playoffs. To be clear to everybody listening, we're not MLS haters here. Adrian is not a
exactly.
fan of Liga MX playoffs either. I don't think we're a fan
Hmm.
of any type of playoffs in general.
Playoffs, yeah.
Um, but seeing these playoffs here, I think it's just Apple's way of I made a huge investment and I want more revenue from my investment. I think they may have played a part in this decision here.
I mean, it's not a lie that like all other American sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, the broadcasting networks do have a lot of weight on the decision on how they play the schedule for the season, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Apple's idea was like, hey, you have to have more games because now they definitely went with the idea in their minds of we need to increase the number of postseason games. So they went now. If you think about it, man, we can have as few as 25 games of postseason and all the way up to 33 games of postseason. Now, some people may think, well, you're a soccer fan or you're a football fan, right? You should be happy that you're going to have more games. But as you were mentioning, like this is not necessarily an ideal situation. I mean, because one of the big criticisms that MLS always had was the lack of consistency on their format.
Mm-hmm.
But increasing the number of postseason games and the format that they're adding right now just adds more inconsistency to the freaking mix. Because as you were telling me before we started the pod, it's like, man, I'm still confused. It's like you have a wild card game, which is like a one way game, and then you go to this format where you're gonna have best of three, and it's a home and away kind of thing. And if the teams are not, if the teams are tied after 180 minutes, I think the game goes to the higher seed or something
Yeah,
like that. So it's
just more
and then
confusion and
they
more.
exactly, and then they go back to the semifinal final format where they have a home and an away game. So what's
Yeah,
the deal?
it's a mixture and a cluster of probably the past 3 or 4 playoff formats they've had. In 2019, they changed the format to the one we reviewed at the beginning of this episode,
Uh
where it
huh.
was 7 and 7 per conference, and a kind of a buy-in, and then automatic buy to the conference semifinal for the first place, and then single elimination matches. Before that, before 2019, it was exactly like Liga MX. Um, you had 1 versus 8, 2 versus
Hmm.
7, blah blah blah, 3 versus 6,
6.
and yeah, and then that's how you kind of did it, right? And then it was home and away.
Hmm.
Everything was home and away, and I think even the final was home and away. if I'm not mistaken. Um, or that may have been before, probably 15 years ago. They always change it. It's not like you said. There's not consistency. But now, just to if you're listening to this episode and haven't really heard of the new changes, Adrian kind of mentioned some here, but let's just go through them real quick. So again, they're changing it to 9 teams per conference. 8 and 9, the ones that qualify 8 and 9 will be in wild card matches. A one-off wild card match. After
Mhm.
that, that means 8 and 8 qualify. That means it goes from 9 teams qualified for conference to 8 after the wild cards. That there's going to be a round one best of 3 series of matches. So whoever wins 2 out of the 3 matches, and these matches, you cannot tie. If the score of the wild card game is tied at the end of regulation, no extra time will be played. Teams will participate
Wait, wait, wait.
in penalty
Hold on. So you're saying that there's not going to be ties, and every single game has to have a winner.
in the first round where they're playing 3 matches. So it's
So
similar.
you're telling
It's
me
like
that?
go for it.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's similar to other American sports, right? Where you have NBA, the best of 7. Whoever
Uh
wins 4
huh.
out of the 7 wins the round.
Yeah.
Here you have best of 3. So if I win one game, you win the other game. Winner of the third match advances, right? So there can't be a tie. So they're going to go directly to penalties
So you're
for those
telling me there's a
matches.
chance
Uh huh.
for a team to win 2 games via
Uh huh.
penalties
Uh huh.
and lost a game in regulation?
So yeah, say one team gets owned 5-0 in regulation and wins 2 other games in penalties, they'll advance. Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, so say again, like you were saying, the undeserving team again can make it. Um,
God.
After that, there's a conference semifinal and then the conference finals, which are a home and away. um, to add to the confusion, and then the MLS Cup, which is one game. So seeds 1 through 7 in each conference again automatically qualify to the round one best of 3 series. Um, and let's see. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the gist of it, man. More games per season. No, no big problems or punishment for not qualifying to the playoffs or being last in the league. You don't get relegated. Um, you could shit the bed in all your away games and be like decent in your home games, like you said, and qualify. I don't know, man. You guys can probably tell we're not really too big of a fans of this change for this.
No, not at all whatsoever. I don't know what to say, man. I understand that sports will increasingly become more uh, streaming content, because I think that's happening on every other league. Like the NFL has the Sunday Pass, or the Ticket Pass. Now it's only on YouTube.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, MLS is the first one to be like a fully
Mhm.
streamable league, right?
Mhm.
Um, but this shouldn't be, the they shouldn't give a reason for the whoever is streaming the content to have, so a big of this much weight in the conversation, because they're definitely not listening to what the fans might be wanting, right? I'm sure that we all want to see more games, but there's ways to do this, and there's no reason to mess with something it isn't broken. It just seems to me that uh, we always complain that Liga MX is trying to copy MLS, but I think
Mhm.
in this specific case, the MLS didn't know what it wanted to do, and they're like, well, you know what? Why don't we look at Liga MX? They've been successful with the recent format since 2020, and why don't we add repechaje? And boom, there we go. We have more games. We have a new format, and we can go with it. When in reality they could have just expanded to one additional team on the postseason, have a regular home and away legs on each conference, and then the best four move into the semifinals and finals or whatever. I don't know. They could have done something different and achieve the same goal: have more games for Apple TV, um, increase the revenue of each team, and then of course allowing the fans to keep on having more drama filled postseason uh, content, I guess.
Yeah, and we're not 100% sure if it was necessarily Apple that kind of pushed for this. It hasn't been specified, but we're kind of
Yeah.
just making an assumption there. But it's a big possibility for sure. But I agree. They used to have it like Liga MX, I think from like 2006 to like 2015 or something, and that was probably my favorite format. The reason they keep changing it, I feel like they say is the American sports market is different. They need to see action. They need to see winnings. They don't like draws. Okay, that's fine, but the American soccer market, it's like any other football soccer market, right? I mean, they're used to seeing the European leagues.
Yeah,
We're used we're
exactly.
used to seeing draws. We know what soccer is, and so
Uh-huh.
I don't know. They're also saying that when they did the home and away ida vuelta matches, it would take a lot of spice out of it, because if a team won 3-0 the first leg, it was a very boring second leg, which I get. But I mean, that happens. That even happens in the Champions League. We're probably going to see Liverpool and Real Madrid tie 0-0 or 1-1 the next leg after that 5-2 thrashing, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, I get that, but yeah, there could have been other ways. Even the previous format, I wasn't a huge fan of when it was just one leg, but I like that more than best of three, no ties. I don't know.
Hell
Uh,
yeah, dude.
I guess we'll give it a chance. We'll see what happens, but I can't help but feel that it's definitely watering down the product to an already watered down product.
I know. And what's funny is that this is the year that I said I'm gonna commit myself to watch MLS more, and this shit happens.
And then they do this to you.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
My God.
Hey, at
And
least
what's also?
go for it.
Sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say at least the app is cool. The Apple
Yeah,
TV app. You get a lot
that
of
is
stuff on
true.
there.
And I was also reading something. Some people online saying that the I guess the quality of the video or the quality of the stream is actually really good.
Yeah.
So I mean that's something, I guess. But this is this also adds to the everlasting image of American soccer, American football as something different from the rest of the world. It is already a difficult pill to swallow that the league doesn't have promotion relegation, and that other leagues and other people from different countries mock the MLS because of that specific reason. Now you have this making it more American, which I mean, I can see both ends. Like, all right, this is an American sport. We're gonna make it American. We'll make it our way. Whether if it's successful and entertainment wise, it's a different conversation. But it just goes to show that the MLS doesn't really care about what the rest of the soccer world is doing. They just exist on their own bubble, and I guess it pays off. We'll see if it paid off, if it pays off or not. The other also thing is that adding more postseason games diminishes the value of the regular season. So I'm assuming they hope or expect to have an influx of subscribers to the MLS
Hmm.
season pass right right before the start of the postseason, because that's when I guess they expect to see more drama. But if you think about it, man, last season was it wasn't even that amazing. Besides for the final game between Philadelphia and LAFC, if you look at the scores, Philadelphia and LAFC pretty much dominated every single leg of the postseason. So it isn't like you're having a lot of teams competing at the highest level. You probably
Hmm.
have maybe a handful of them that can actually compete to the likes of Philadelphia and LAFC. So I don't know. I mean, this goes back to your point of not having a robust roster for
Yeah.
for this kind of format.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I think you summarized it really well with those closing statements. We'll see how the league ends up this first year with Apple TV. I'm excited to watch what Apple TV
Yeah,
has, because I mean you and I were kind of watching, sat down this weekend and we're kind of watching some of the previews and stuff, and they're pretty cool, honestly.
yeah,
So it'll be fun to see, and maybe hopefully we're proven wrong. Hopefully these best of three matches are cool, but like you said, I mean, what if a team wins one game and then wins the other game? It's just like, okay, like LAFC is going to be playing. I don't know who's going to qualify as eighth. Some average team, New England Revolution, and then they'll dominate them
St.
3-0,
Louis boy.
2-0. Yeah, St. Louis. Hey man, don't sleep on them. I
I
guess
know.
before we close this one out, just one quick other final note here. Not really about that, but MLS and Adidas just agreed to an 830 million a contract extension that will take them from their contract expiring this year. It'll take it to 2030. And honestly, the jerseys this year, the kits were pretty fire, man. I liked a lot of them. They
Yeah,
kind of
me
stepped
too.
up
I
their
think
game.
RB New York, it's pretty cool. I also really enjoyed the one from LA Galaxy, the green one
Uh,
with the Jamaica stuff. That was pretty cool too.
yeah,
But
FC,
man,
FC Dallas had a cool white one,
I really hope that at some point Nike jumps in or someone else. I'm not a huge
or
fan
they
of
open
Adidas.
it, or they open it
Yeah,
to like any other
hmm
regular league, right?
right.
um,
Yeah, that would be cool too.
but all right, man. Thanks for being on here with me for this one, man. I know we kind of had to not filter out, but vent a lot of our thoughts here. Um, but thanks for being on here with me, man, and I'll see you on the next one, brother.
Take it easy, man.
See ya.